Of Watford still in the lead. Elliot Davis, Hemel Hempstead just a little bit behind him. They go into that final term. Kovar touches, then Davis, then Atigal. Those are first, second and third in the centre of the pool. Now Davis, can he pull anything out on this last half length? He's swimming that little bit faster. Looks like he's just moving into lead with 6 or 7 metres to go. Davis ahead of Kovar. It's pretty tight, but Davis is going to take this one unless he unless he gets the finish wrong, and they didn't really get it wrong, but he just didn't get the touch quite right. So there we are. That's the difference between finishing properly and not finishing perfectly. A hundredth of a second rather. Patrick Kovar, Watford takes the win, 132.92. Davis, second place, 132.93, and then third place, Dylan Atigal, Potters Bar, 135.26. Heat 6, referee. James Gisborne in lane 1, Jonathan Wyman in lane 2, Jack Savage in 3, Daniel Hollis in 4, Alistair Walgrove in 5, Sam Pyfinch in 6, Charlie Taverner in 7, and Aidan Wood in lane 8. Down into the 134s to the 135s. Lane 1 turns first. James Gisborne just ahead of one of the swimmers in the centre of the pool. Which one was it? Well, as they come off the wall, it's lane 6, Sam Pyfinch from Tring. He's had some good swims yesterday and this morning. Let's see how he does here. Sam Pyfinch, 12 years old, so mixture of 11, 12 and 13-year-olds in the pool. And it's the outside lanes taking the pace up at the moment with Lucas Hartley of Hatfield ahead of Charlie Stanbury. And then, Charlie Taverner, Sam Pyfinch and Jonathan Wyman. So James Gisborne, Bishop Stortford in lane 1, turning first. Then we've got Charlie Taverner in lane 7, and in between them, Pyfinch and Walgrove. So all to play for still for second onwards. James Gisborne doing well, should hold on to this lead. Just coming into the 5 metres to go. Gisborne going to be very tight for second, third and fourth as Gisborne takes the win, 130.77. Second place was Charlie Taverner for Watford, 131.78, and third place Sam Pyfinch Tring, 132.24. A disqualification for you, event 204, that's this event. Heat 4, lane 2, disqualified for a technical infringement. This is Heat 7, referee. Edward Richardson in 1, James Chapman in 2, Noah Cornwell in 3, Nathaniel Hopkins in 4, Max Robertson in 5, Eldrick Manella in 6, Enzo Lib in 7, and Ruel Shepherd lane 8. Drop into the sub-130s on the seed times now, and it's lane 3 turning first, Noah Cornwell. His time just over the 130 mark, 130.60. So maybe he can break the 130 barrier. As he swims down, long way ahead of the rest of the field, pretty tight for second place. Max Robertson, Hatfield with a purple hat, lane 5 in second place, as Noah Cornwell, Potters Bar, turns first, 39.91. So he's swimming very well here, Noah Cornwell. Robertson still in second place, coming back. Nathaniel Hopkins in 4, just has that look about him like he might be accelerating down the final 50. Moved up into third place as Cornwell turns. Hopkins now in third, Robertson in second. Majestically out at the front though, Noah Cornwell certainly in a race of his own in this particular heat. He's the 13-year-old. So looking to see if he can get the 13-year-old final. Entered on 130.6, finishes on 125.10, long way ahead. Max Robertson Hatfield, second, 128.29. And Nathaniel Hopkins of Verulam finishes third, 129.96. This is Heat 8, referee. Taylor Coe. Lane 1, Dylan Dyson, Diaz 2. Benjamin Williamson in lane 3. Jake Patterson in 4. Callum Bullock in lane 5. Callum's going to go into the halfway point with a slight advantage. His pad, I'm not sure. Maybe pushed off it a little less than the others, but he looked like he was into the wall in the lead. George Williams in 6. Lewis Clark 7. Jamie Farrow in lane 8. Could one of the lifeguards come and see me if they get a moment, please? One of the lifeguards pop over. Thank you. Meanwhile, back in the pool. We have Jamie Farrow of Hatfield versus the other Hatfield swimmer, Benjamin Williamson. But Farrow in lane 8 in the lead, slight advantage, well, more than that, half a body's length. Comes in, hits the pads, 1:23.17, stops the clock. Long way under his entry time. Second place was Benjamin Williamson Hatfield, 1:24.55, and on a 1:25.08 was Callum Bullock in third place. Disqualification for you. Event 204, Heat 6, Lane 8, disqualified for a technical infringement. So that was Heat 6, Lane 8. Clear the pool, please. Heat 9, referee. Luke Temple, lane 1, Yuto Watanabe 2, Alex Tate 3, Zane Bat 4, Alex Horn 5, James Irvine 6, Thomas Ogden in 7, and Joshua Bridgeland in lane 8. Thomas Ogden, Bishop Stortford, slight advantage, same bat of Cheshunt just behind him as they come up to the halfway mark. Ogden turns first, 38.34, then bat on a 38.59. James Irvine, Watford, 39.39 as they go back down towards the turn end. Ogden powering away now. Ogden in the lead for Bishop Stortford with a black hat in lane 7. Long way ahead of the rest of the field. Then we've got the Cheshunt swimmer. Zane Batt in second place. And in third place, James Irvine. Thomas Ogden then, Bishop Stortford. Just being caught slightly by Batt, but Ogden's going to take the win. 2 or 3 strokes to go. Finishes 120.90. Batt second, 122.56. And Irvine third, 124.40. Heat 7, referee. Heat 10, of course, of 17, what I meant to say. Keaton Rack in 1, Thomas Long in 2, Freddie Arbonot in 3, Benjamin Clayton Harris in 4, Ewan Donald in 5, Joshua Holland in lane 6, Thomas Barnes in 7, and Alexander Williams in lane 8. And it's Thomas Barnes Royston turning first. All the swimmers under the water. Who's coming up first? Thomas Barnes just about in the lead. Royston had some good swims here this morning. They won the first back 100 free final. And Thomas Barnes maintaining that. At the moment, he turns first, 37.54. Barnes first. Joshua Holland second. Ewan Donald in third place. They move up towards the turn end. Thomas Barnes still has the advantage. Touches a good body length ahead of the rest of the field. Then it's Holland and Donald as they come back down towards the start end. Barnes still in the lead. Holland beginning to catch him up. Donald just been caught by Clayton Harris and Arbonot. Arbonot in lane 3 coming back a little bit. Thomas Barnes though still has it. Been pushed very hard by Joshua Holland. It's going to be on the finish. Barnes just drifted in a little bit. 121.32, couple of hundreds behind Joshua Holland of Hertford, who won with a 121.29, and then Freddie Arbonot swimming well down that final 20. Third on a 122.37. Disqualification. This event 204, heat 8, lane 4. Disqualified for a technical infringement. Heat 11, referee. Devish Kapoor in 1, Benjamin Green 2, Sei Bankole 3, Ed Campfield 4, Thomas Chapman 5, Ryan Pocock in 6, Joseph Panesi in 7, and Luke Pestill in lane 8. As Thomas Chapman for Harpenden turns first, lane 5 with the white hat. Not far behind him, Sei Bankole for Hemel. And it's Bankole now moving into lead with the blue hat in lane 3. Fast stroke rate comes into the halfway point ahead of the rest of the field by quite a margin, 36.70 against, hasn't come up yet, but I reckon it was a second and a half behind the rest of the field. We've got Luke Pestill of Hatfield in lane 8 moving well here. So it's Pestill in lane 8, Bankole in lane 3. They won't see each other. Bankole just beginning to be caught by Pestill as they come up. Perhaps a bit unfair. Pestill a body length ahead. Sorry, Bankole a body length ahead. Lane 3 with the blue hat. Pestill beginning to be caught by the rest of the field. Bankole just drifting backwards a bit as well as Ed Campfield for Harpenden and Thomas Chapp from Harpenden begin to catch him. Bankole just gonna, he's just gonna lose it, I think. Luke Pestill's gonna get this. Very good final 25 from Luke. Finishes first on a 120.89. Bankoli for Hemel is finishing on a 1:26.66, and then Ed Campfield third on a 1:21.74. So if you can clear the pool to the sides, please, swimmers, have a short break before the next heat. So just a short pause before the next heat. If you wish to clear the pool to the sides, please, swimmers. Swimmers who are about to swim, just stand down and relax momentarily, please. So swimmers, we're about ready to start again. If you want to get ready, please. Heat 12, referee. Harrison Newby Kemp in 1, Ish Rahim in 2, Joe Elson in 3, Thomas Stanbury in 4, Nicholas Botha in 5, Callum Grieg 6, Callum Harrell 7, and Samuel Oakley in lane 8. And it's lane 1 turning first, Harrison Newby Kemp just ahead of Ish Rahim. Ish Rahim winning, he was certainly in the finals this morning, top 3 I think, maybe won them. Swimming well on the breaststroke now for Berkhamsted. Moving into a nice first place. just ahead of Callum Grieg. Ish Rahim turns first, 36.51. Grieg second, 36.69. With Callum Harold third, 37.10. Back towards the turn end. Ish Rahim with the lead still. Long way up out of the water on the breaststroke. Just touches the wall, turns now marginally ahead of Callum Harold. And then Callum Grieg in third place. Ish Rahim then with the white hat of Berkhamsted, entered on a 1:19.89. Ish Rahim doing well. Callum Harold pushing him hard. Callum Harold, another couple of metres he would have won it, but it's a 100-metre race, not a 102-metre race. Ish Rahim wins, 1:16.87. Callum Harold second, 1:19.29. And third, Joe Elson of Bushy, 1:18.61. A disqualification for you, event 204, heat 10, lane 2, technical infringement. Heat 13, referee. Lewis Shaler 1, Nick Stockwell 2, Marco Tontadonati 3, Stephen Bright 4, Alexander Kemp 5, Dominic McCarthy 6, Jude Gold 7, and Matthias Morse in lane 8. 1:17's the time now. It's Lewis Shaler, Watford, turning first in lane 1. Off the wall though, we've got Alexander Kemp, Dominic McCarthy, lanes 5 and 6. Moving to the 4 now. McCarthy of Hoddesdon just takes a slight advantage into the halfway point, 35.93. They go back into the second 50. McCarthy from Kemp. The other swimmers just close enough on them slightly, so it's not over yet. And they've got to carry this speed all the way through the last length as well. McCarthy from Kemp. Kemp turns ahead of McCarthy though as they come back. 25 metres to go. Alexander Kemp from Watford in the lead. McCarthy not over yet. And in third place it's Shaler from Watford in lane 1. Kemp still hanging on to this one. McCarthy's going to have to work hard. Kemp should take this if he gets the finish right. He does. Kemp wins 1:17.37. Shaler finishing fast over in lane 1 on a 1:17.76. That was a joint second along with Dominic McCarthy, 17.76 as well for Hoddesdon. Heat 14, referee. .114 out to 1:16 now for these swimmers as they go into the first turn, and it's a slight advantage to Tolu Ellison in lane 2. Harry Thorne in 1, Daniel Lush in 3, Zach Patel in 4, John Tolensky in 5, Joseph Coldwell in 6, Alfie Francis in 7, and James Blank in lane 8. As they come down towards the start, it's very tight indeed. They turn. Tolu Ellison turned first, quite lazy on the turn I thought, but he's in the lead as they went into the turn. He's just holding on to that lead at the moment. Daniel Lush of Cheshunt in lane 3, just beside him, putting him under a little bit of pressure. So it's those two swimmers. Ellison first, Lush second. They go into the turn. Third at the turn, Alfie Francis, Potters Bar, lane 7. Moving that down towards the start. Now it's Lush just overhauled Ellison. The faster entry times in the middle are not coming back, so it's Lush and Ellison. It's stroke for stroke. Ellison with a slight advantage. One stroke, they're going to both drift in. They do, but Lush gets it rather. 1:15.40. Ellison second, 1:15.46, and then Alfie Francis Potters Bar on a 1:16.10. Heat 15, referee. Carl Holmes in 1, Callum Davis 2, Sam Gamble 3, Charlie Rayner 4, Ollie Hurst 5, Toby Laguda 6, Bryn Cursor in 7, and Matthew Honeyman in lane 8. So down into the 107s now. Sam Gamble in lane 3 with a slight advantage for Hitchin with the yellow hat. Turns first. Gamble comes up first, just ahead of Callum Davis, Bishop Stortford with a black hat. And now just beginning to come back on them, Ollie Hurst, Berkhamsted in lane 5. Gamble just about in the lead. He turns second, 33.79, as Hurst hit the pads first, 33.53. Coming off the turn though, it's Gamble and Hurst. Hurst with the advantage, just ahead of Gamble. And between them we've got Rayner and Callum Davis on the outside. Coming up to that turn, Gamble's just drifted back a bit now. It's Hurst, then Rayner, then Gamble as they come back down underneath the water. Out of the transition phase, we've got Ollie Hurst from Charlie Rayner. Sam Gamble just holding on to third place, being pushed quite hard by Callum Davis. Back at the front though, Hurst doing very well over the last 3 lengths. Bit of a drift into the finish, doesn't matter. 1:10.90, should get his place in the final, I would think. Second place goes to Charlie Rayner of Hatfield on a 1:11.14, and Gamble for Hitchin third, 1:12.75. Heat 16, referee. Yannick Wilson 1, Joseph Collins 2, James Woodward 3, Jack Christie 4, Alexander Ong 5, Marcus Kemp 6, Harvey Bannister 7, and Jordan Northwood in lane 8. Coming to that first turn, slight advantage Joseph Collins, Bishop Stortford as they come up out of the water. And sorry, I missaw that. Jack Christie, Hemel Hempstead was the one into the wall first. Christie still just holding on to it. James Woodward pushing him hard for Potters Bar. And then we've also got Ong and Kemp Northwood in lane 8, not out of it yet. Turning first, Jack Christie, Hemel Hempstead. James Woodward looking good in lane 3, looking like he could win this heat. He's just slowly eking away at the rest of them. He's coming into that final turn with a slight advantage. Woodward turns first, then Christie, then Ong. All of them underwater doing that transition phase. And then we've still got James Woodward, Potters Bar in the lead. Ong coming back harder. I mean, it's probably going to be Woodward. Woodward takes a win, 109.55. Ong in second place for Costa, 109.90. And Jack Christie of Hemel third, 109.94. So we've got one more heat to go, and then I'll give you the finalists for the girls' 100 free. Quick disqualification for you. Event 204, Heat 14, Lane 5, disqualified for a technical infringement. Heat 17, referee. Joseph Richardson in 1, Josh Gaines 2, Cole James 3, David Shipman 4, George Loveman 5, Reese Hoodson 6, David Hensman 7, and Kieran McCarthy in lane 8. Getting down to 103 out to 110s now, or 113s. So this is our final heat. David Shipman, lane 4, faster entry time by far than the rest of the swimmers. He'll have seen the times, he knows what he needs to do. And he turns 32.32, Shipman, then Loveman, then Houston. 4, 5 and 6. Shipman just moving away from the rest of the field. George Loveman with the grey silvery hat, lane 5, second place. And then Reese Hoodson of Hatfield in third place with the purple hat in lane 5. Shipman moving away, just over a body length ahead of the rest of the field. Shipman then comes in. He entered on 1:03.30. Shipman, last stroke or so, a bit lazy, doesn't matter. Shipman first, his time 1:08.30. Second was George Loveman, 1:10.17. And then third, Reese Houston, 1:11.12. If you'd like to clear the pool to the sides, please, swimmers. So that concludes the 2 events. Let me give you the finalists for the girls' 100 free. You've got till 3:10 to withdraw. And here are the finalists for the girls' 100 free. 10 and 11-year-old final: Isabel Murtaugh, Holly Morgan, Grace Cowley, Katie Lane, Jessica Bright, Nemo Mira, Heather Mann, Megan Worley, and the reserves: Abigail Breers and Darcy Hambry. "12-year-olds: Daisy Moxham, Ella Nykamp, Valeria Giron, Lucy Coyer-Bell, Gemma Nottage, Anastasia Wilkinson, Georgia Pritchard, and Jessica Coleman. The reserves: Danya Shepherdson and Isabel Geller. "13-year-olds: Caitlin Liu, Jessica Keogh, Millie Fields, Ashley Cooper, Isabel Godfrey, Ella Norton, Sienna Trelogan, Freya Harwood. The reserves: Abby Larkman, Isabel Baker. Officials, I guess you've got a few minutes if you want to break, because we've got at least 10 minutes before we do the next final. We'll start the finals. 14-year-olds: Lily Merritt, Libby Dunford, Jessica Woodward, Jessica Heesum, Gemma Hanson, Erin O'Meara, Eleanor Mason, Daisy Sandon. The reserves: Lauren Young and Alex Lawman. 15-year-old finalists: Mia Carter, Shona McKenna, Emily Lush, Billy Grant, Sarah Carroll, Georgia Perkis, Lauren Stott, Natasha Bentley. Reserves: Fiona Holmes, Olivia Seal. And then finally, the 16 and over finalists. We have Katie Conyers, Amy Young, Leanne Carey, Georgina Talon, Amy Pemberton, Beatrice Barder, Josie Precious White, and Sophie Burns. First reserve is Alice Fender. And then we have 3 second reserves, because you all had the same time: Neem James, Laura Copping, and Tegan Wollaston. So first reserve, Alice Fender, and then 3 second reserves: Neem James, Laura Copping, Tegan Wollaston. It might be helpful, well, if you're one of those 3 second reserves and you definitely don't want to swim, if you could let us know, and that might make it easier to work out who's doing in the event we have 2 people drop out of the final. If you don't wish to swim in the final as a finalist, please let the admin desk know by 3:10, and then we'll be able to seed the finals. So as soon as I get the breaststroke finalists, I'll let you have those. So I'm just hearing the finalists that I've just read you out may have a mistake in it, so just hold fire if you were thinking you should have been there and you're not, or vice versa, and I'll let you know if there's any differences. I'll let you have the breaststroke finalists as soon as I get them. In the meanwhile, we'll have a little bit of music from After Dark, and we'll let you know when the finals are going to start just as soon as we know. Thank you. So I have the finalists for the breaststroke for you. You've got till 22 minutes past 3 to withdraw. 10 and 11-year-old finalists: Daniel Hollis, Jonathan Wyman, Lucas Hartley, Jake Moore, Cub Madison, Ethan Howard, Jason Ho, and William Buckley. The reserves: Alexander Calverboer, Henry Catterfield. 12-year-old age group: Alexander Williams, James Gisborne, Eldrick Manella, Charlie Taverner, Enzo Lim, Sam Pyefinch, Alistair Walgrove, and Edward Richardson. The reserves: Daniel Ord and Charlie Stanbury. 13-year-old finalist: Thomas Ogden, Benjamin Green, Yutu Watanabe, Noah Cornwell, Keaton Ratch, George Williams, Max Robertson, and Taylor Coe. The two reserves: Nathaniel Hopkins and James Chapman. 14-year-old finalists: Alfie Francis, Lewis Shaler, Mateus Morse, Marco Tontadonati, Luke Pastil, Joshua Holland, Sei Bancoli, and Freddie Arbonot. The reserves: Zane Batt and Harris Clayton. (15-year-old finalists: Reese Housden, Bryn Cursor, Causa, Kieran McCarthy, Toby Laguda, Yannick Wilson, Tolu Ellison, Joseph Coldwell, Ish Rahim, and the two reserves: Callum Harold and Dominic McCarthy. And the 16-over finalists: David Shipman, James Woodward, Alexander Ong, Jack Christie, George Loveman, Ollie Hurst, Charlie Rayner, Marcus Kemp. The two reserves: Josh Gaines and Joseph Collins. So you have until 22 minutes past 3 to let us know you don't wish to swim, otherwise we will assume you're going to. Thank you very much. If the officials could please take up their positions, please, so we can start the breaststroke finals. Thank you for that. Sorry, freestyle finals. So swimmers, we're going to do the freestyle finals in a moment or two. We're going to do a test start first. Just let me check. So, tempted to say at long last, the 100-metre freestyle finals, the first one of which is the 10 and 11-year-olds. In lane 8 from Potters Bar, Jessica Bright. Lane 1 from Watford, Megan Worley. Lane 7 from Watford, Neem O'Meara. Lane 2 from Bushy, Darcy Hambry. Lane 6 from Costa, Katie Lane. Lane 3 from Hemel, Grace Corley. Lane 5 from Hoddesdon, Holly Morgan. And in lane 4 from Hatfield, Isabel Murtagh. Referee. Off we go then on our first final this evening, or late this afternoon, the 100-metre free. 10 and 11-year-olds. And early advantage for the centre 2 lanes, Isabel Murtagh and Holly Morgan, Hatfield and Hoddesdon. 4 lengths front crawl, of course. And it's those two, along with Holly Morgan, along with Katie Lane, rather, of Costa, who are taking the early initiative. It's Costa's swimmer, Katie Lane. Slight lead as they come into the turn, turns, she kicks off the pad, stops the clock, 35-35. Back into the second half, Lane versus Murtagh. Murtagh Hatfield in lane 4. Katie Lane of Costa with a blue hat in lane 6. And in between them, Holly Morgan, very close indeed as they come up towards that final turn. Little to choose between them, they come up, out of the surface, off the wall. Isabel Murtagh of Hatfield swimming well. Moving into the lead, Holly Morgan Hoddesdon tracking her down. Can she catch her up? Murtagh, half a body length in head. Hoddesdon trying hard. Hoddesdon's coming back. It's going to be on the touch here. Very close indeed. Oh my goodness. And it's not come up on the scoreboard. Well, my guess, and it's only a guess, is it was Isabel that took that. There you go, 1:12.65. And Isabel, Holly Morgan in second, 1:12.78. And Katie Lane of Costa, 1:14.73. So an excellent final there. Thank you, swimmers. If you clear the pool towards the scoreboard side, please, over on your right. So Hopefully the rest of our finals will be as exciting and as close as that. It looked a lot closer than 65-78. But as I said, I think Isabel definitely was the winner there as they came in. And Holly coming back fast, but just left it a little bit too late to catch her up. All there. The winning time, second or so underneath, almost a second underneath the prelims time, which is as it should be, of course, getting faster as you go through the day. We move on to our second final, the 12-year-olds in lane 8 for Stevenage, Jessica Coleman. Lane 1 for Hatfield, Georgia Pritchard. Lane 7 for Hatfield, Anastasia Wilkinson. Lane 2 for Watford, Gemma Nottage. Lane 6 for Costa, Lucy Coyabell. Lane 3 for Hatfield, Valeria Giron. Lane 5 for Berkhamsted, Ella Nykamp. And in lane 4, the fastest entrant for Royston, Daisy Moxham. Referee. Second final underway. Royston swimmer Daisy Moxham, fastest entrant, 1:07.08 on the prelims. But at the moment it's Ella Nykamp, the other swimmer with the 1:07, just 100th faster in the qualification rounds earlier on. She comes off the wall with a slight advantage. Ella Nykamp, Berkhamsted with the silver and green hat in lane 5. Just behind her, Royston. Daisy Moxham with the white hat and the green writing, they both turn pretty much together. Moxham just ahead of Nykamp, 31.86 against 31.88. Coming off the wall though, Nykamp with the advantage. Third place at the moment, Valeria Giron of Hatfield in lane 3. Coming down towards that final turn, it's Nykamp with the advantage over Giron, over Moxham rather. Coming off the wall, not much to choose between them. Can Royston's Daisy Moxham accelerate away, but at the moment it's Ella Nykamp at Berkhamsted holding on to that lead, just moving slightly ahead. Moxham coming back slightly, but Nykamp's going to take this one. 1:06.67. Daisy Moxham for Royston, 1:06.76, and in third place Valeria Giron for Hatfield on a 1:07.61. Clear the pool to the big scoreboard side, please. So 1:06.67, the winning time there for Ella Nykamp against a 1:07.09. So quarter of a second quicker, a little bit more than that. And another excellent final. So the 13-year-old finalists in lane 8 from Hitchin, Freya Harwood. Lane 1 from Cheshunt, Sienna Trelogan. Lane 7 from Hatfield, Ella Norton. Lane 2 from Costa, Isabel Godfrey. Lane 6 from Hitchin, Ashley Cooper. Lane 3 from Bishop Stortford, Millie Fields. Lane 4 from Hatfield, Caitlin Liu. Sorry, Jessica Keogh. My mistake. And in lane 4 from Hatfield, Caitlin Liu. Referee.
Take your marks.
So the two Hatfield swimmers in the centre of the pool with 104s on their entry time. The other swimmers a little bit slower through the prelim rounds earlier on. Jessica Keogh, 5, just ahead of Caitlin Liu as they come off their turn. Millie Fields, Bishop Stortford, Black Hat in lane 3, just a little bit behind them, but not losing too much time, moving up towards the halfway point. Keogh, Caitlin Liu, and then Millie Fields, 30, 23, 47 and 92. Moving down towards the turn end, the two Hatfield swimmers just beginning to move away. Caitlin Liu looking like she's just beginning to overhaul Jessica Keogh. Keogh goes into the turn marginally ahead of Fields. Out of the turn though, Fields has the advantage, Caitlin Liu has the advantage. Liu just moving away from Keogh, third place Fields still there. Caitlin Liu coming back strongly down the last 10, 12 metres. Comes into finish, touches perfectly on the timing there. 103.18 the winning time. 103.66, Jessica Keogh in second place, and then Millie Fields for Bishop Stortford third. 104.16. Clear the pool towards the side, the scoreboard side please. The winning time then, 103.18, so they're all swimming faster, or the winners are swimming faster as they go out of the prelims into the heats, which we would expect the older ones to do, but it's quite good for the younger ones as well. Harder for them to judge the pacing as they transition from the heats to the final. The 14-year-old finalists in lane 8 from Stevenage, Daisy Sandon. Lane 1 from Bishop Stortford, Eleanor Mason. Lane 7 from Watford, Erin O'Meara. Lane 2 from Hatfield, Gemma Hansen. Lane 6 from Potters Bar, Jessica Heesum. Lane 3 from Potters Bar, Jessica Woodward. Lane 5 from Hoddesdon, Libby Dunford. And lane 4 from Hoddesdon, Lily Merritt. Referee. Two Hoddesdon swimmers in the centre of the pool, flanked by two Potters Bar swimmers. All four in with a shout of the win here as they go up towards the first turn. It is in fact Jessica Woodward, Potters Bar, lane 3. Slight advantage with the white hat. It's Woodward and Lily Merritt. Lanes 3 and 4, Merritt of Hoddesdon with a slight advantage over Woodward as they turn. Merritt turns first, 29.62, 29.86. Jessica Woodward just behind her, and now Merritt just starts to accelerate away from the rest of the field. She was a second or so quicker on the entry times. Merritt turns. Jessica Woodward trying hard to stay with her, but just drifting back a little bit. Can she hold on to second place? At the moment, third is with Libby Dunford as Lily Merritt for Hoddesdon moves away from the rest of the field. Finishes in a time 1:00.82, so an excellent swim there. Second place goes to Jessica Woodward, holds on to that second place, 1:02.60, and just 7 100ths behind her. In third place on a 1:02.67, Erin O'Meara of Watford. So well done swimmers, clear the pool towards the scoreboard side please. Can we have all the swimmers for the boys breaststroke finals to the marshalling area, please, if you're not already there? The 15-year-old finalists in lane 8 from Hatfield, Natasha Bentley. Lane 1 from Costa, Lauren Stott. Lane 7 from Hemel, Georgia Perkis. Lane 2 from Bishop Stortford, Sarah Carroll. Lane 6 from Hatfield, Billy Grant. Lane 3 from Cheshunt, Emily Lush. Lane 5 from Hemel, Shona McKenna. And in lane 4 from Bishop Stortford, Mia Carter. Referee. Nice underwater face from Mia Carter in lane 4 for Bishop Stortford. Fastest entrant, 101.60. She goes into the turn, marginally ahead of the rest of the swimmers. Billy Grant in 6, Shona McKenna in 5, not far behind her. Coming off the wall, McKenna of Hemel Hempstead just moving into the lead. Mia Carter just in second place, but there's very little to choose between them. Carter now retrieved that, turns first, 29.49. McKenna, 29.60. And then it's Billy Grant, 30.04. Back up towards the turn end. Mia Carter, Bishop Stortford just moving into the lead now as they go up to the turn. Half a body's length ahead of the rest of the field. Carter from McKenna. Carter in the lead. McKenna in second place. It's between Billy Grant and Emily Lush for third place. With Lush, Billy Grant in third at the moment. Back at the front, Mia Carter, Bishop Stortford takes the win very convincingly. 101.14, a good strong finish for Lauren Stott of Costa. 101.93, so a good final length for her. And Billy Grant of Hatfield in a third, 102.17. Can you clear the pool to the scoreboard side, please, swimmers? Clear the pool to the scoreboard side, please. Thank you. The 16 and over finalists in lane 8 from Watford, it's Sophie Burns. Lane 1 from Bishop Stortford, Josie Precious White. Lane 7 from Costa, Beatrice Barda. Lane 2 from Berkhamsted, Amy Pemberton. Lane 6 from Potters Bar, Georgina Talon. Lane 3 from Watford, Leanne Carey. Lane 5 from Bishop Stortford, Amy Young. And in lane 4 from Potters Bar, Katie Conyers. Referee. Last front freestyle final then. Katie Conyers, lane 4, the only swimmer under the minute mark in the prelims. And it's lane 3, Leanne Carey, Watford, turning ever so slightly ahead into the wall. Coming off the wall though, Katie Conyers, Potters Bar, white hat in lane 1, has the advantage. Coming up towards the halfway point, Conyers turns first, it's pretty close for the next. But it's Amy Young just ahead of Leanne Carey. Conyers turning on a 28.52. Conyers still in the lead, not a huge dominant lead at the moment. Amy Young coming back in lane 5 for Bishop Stortford. Can Katie Conyers accelerate away now? Conyers from Kerry from Young. Young's doing a good job here to Bishop Stortford. Katie Conyers though still in the lead. Amy Young of Bishop Stortford, a black cap, but it looks like the Potters Bar swimmer's going to take it. She does, 59.65. Amy Young, Bishop Stortford in second place, 59.90. And third place on 1:00.53, Leanne Carey of Watford. So thank you very much, swimmers. If you could clear the pool towards the scoreboard side, please. And we move to our final event, or final set of finals, the boys' breaststroke finals. And then that will conclude our session today, and indeed the weekend swimming. The 100 breaststroke finals, the 10 and 11-year-olds in lane 8 from Watford, William Buckley. Lane 1 from Hatfield, Jason Ho. Lane 7 from Potters Bar, Ethan Howard. Lane 2 from Hatfield, Cub Madison. Lane 6 from Potters Bar, Jake Moore. Lane 3 from Hatfield, Lucas Hartley. Lane 5 from Royston, Jonathan Wyman. And in lane 4 from Costa, Daniel Hollis. Referee. Into our breaststroke finals. Daniel Hollis, Costa, lane 4. Quite a lot faster on entry time from the other swimmers. And he's going to get up to that first turn, just ahead of the rest of them. Lucas Hartley, Jonathan Wyman, Hatfield and Royston not far behind him. But the heat showed that quite often it's that second and third length where the dominant swimmer starts to move away. Hartley keeping up with Hollis at the moment. Hollis extending the lead almost at body length as he moves up to the halfway point. Wyman and Hartley, stroke for stroke. Hartley slightly ahead of Wyman. Hollis turning on 43.34. And they move back down towards the turn end. Some good races for fourth onwards, almost in line. The rest of the swimmers, Moore, Howard, Buckley, Ho and Madison. But back at the front, Hollis in the lead. Wyman just catching him up as Hartley drifts back a little bit, looking across, see where he is. Hollis, Hartley, Wyman. Hollis has the advantage. Can Hartley catch him up? Hartley's beginning to make some inroads into him. Wyman just drifting back a bit. Holliso looks like he has this under control. Hartley's got a lot of work to do in the last 5 metres. Daniel Hollis then for Costa comes in. Last stroke or so, stops the clock, 1:32.26. Lucas Hartley of Hatfield, 1:33.09. And Jonathan Wyman of Royston, 1:33.72. So thank you, swimmers. If you could clear the pool, please, to the scoreboard side on your right. A disqualification for the event 203, that's a previous event of this. Heat 3, the 13-year-old finals. Lane 4 was disqualified for a technical infringement. The 12-year-old finalists in lane 8 from Harpington, Edward Richardson. Lane 1 from Costa, Alistair Woolgrove. Lane 7 from Tring, Sam Pyfinch. Lane 2 from Watford, Enzo Lim. Lane 6 from Watford, Charlie Taverner. Lane 3 from Stevenage, Eldrick Manella. Lane 5 from Bishop Stortford, James Gisborne. And in lane 4 from Watford, Alexander Williams. Referee. Twelve-year-olds underway. Alexander Williams, Watford, lane 4. Fastest entrant, just in the lead at the moment as they go up towards that turn. But only by half a metre or so, not much to choose between them. Williams turns in, back towards the start end. Just beginning to accelerate away from the rest of the field. He was 5 seconds quicker than everybody else in the preliminary rounds. And that pace is starting to show now as he's a good body length and a bit ahead of the rest of the field. He turns on a 40.21, and then the next swimmers are 2 or 3 seconds behind him. Enzo Lim and Sam Pyfing. So some good races for second, third onwards, but Alexander Williams very much in the lead of this heat. Tring swimmer Sam Pyfing, she's had some good swims. Him and James Gisborne from Bishop Stortford vying for second place. Along with Enzo Lim, Alistair Woolgrove. But a very dominant swim, most dominant swim we've seen in our final so far. Alexander Williams of Watford. 1:25.66 in the heats. He's going to be just under that as he finishes. He finishes on 1:24.75. It's tight for second place. Enzo Lim of Watford looks like he's going to come in and get a Watford 1-2. He finishes on a 1:30.45, just a little bit behind him for Bishop Stortford. James Gisborne, 1:30.78. So thank you very much, swimmers. If you clear the pool towards the scoreboard, please. Alexander Williams, 24.75, entered on a 25.66, so 9/10 quicker, which is excellent. As we move next to the 13-year-old finalists. Another disqualification, event 204, that's this one in the first final. The 10 and 11-year-olds. Lane 6 was disqualified for a technical infringement. The 13-year-old finalists in lane 8 from Cheshunt, Taylor Coe. In lane 1 from Hatfield, Max Robertson. Lane 7 from Harpenden, George Williams. Lane 2 from Watford, Keaton Ratch. Lane 6 from Potters Bar, Noah Cornwell. Lane 3 from Hatfield, Yutu Watanabe. Lane 5 from Watford, Benjamin Green. And in lane 4 from Bishop Stortford, Thomas Ogden. Referee.
Take your marks.
13-year-old finalists then in the water, out of their transition phase into the full stroke. And it's Thomas Ogden in the lead. Again, he had a substantial lead coming into this final from the heats. Entered on a 120 against a 123, 125, the swimmers around him. Thomas Ogden then, black-hatted Bishop Stortford swimmer in lane 4, but who put under considerable pressure by Benjamin Green of Watford with the red hat in lane 5. Ogden, though, just holding on to this as they come up towards the halfway point. Ogden ahead of Green. Ogden turns 38.10, Green 39.06. And then Cornwell of Potters Bar on a 40.20. Back down towards the turn end. This is where Ogden's speed's probably going to show. He can hold on to the pace all the way through. Watanabe of Hatfield in lane 3 just moving up as Ogden comes up. A couple of metres to go into that turn. Ogden turns first. Watanabe and Green turning pretty much at the same time. Noah Cornwell just drifted back a bit. Green having a go at catching Ogden up, but it's a big ask now. There's 10 metres to go, less than that. Thomas Ogden moving away from the rest of the field. It's a good race for second place, but Thomas Ogden's going to take the win. Finishes in a 121.53. Benjamin Green finishes second, 122.16, and Watanabe third, 122.22. So thank you, swimmers. Can you clear the pool towards the scoreboard side, please? The 14-year-old finalists in lane 8 from Harpenden, Freddie Arbonaut. In lane 1 from Hemel Hempstead, C. Bancoli. Lane 7 from Hertford, Joshua Holland. Lane 2 from Hatfield, Luke Pestel. Lane 6 from Bishop Stortford, Marco Tontodonati. Lane 3 from Hemel Hempstead, Matthias Morse. Lane 5 from Watford, Lewis Shayla. And in lane 4 from Potters Bar, Alfie Francis. Referee. Very long underwater face end for Alfie Francis, Potters Bar. Fastest entrant on a 1:16.10. He's been pushed by the swimmers around him. He's just going to touch first. Alfie Francis first. Back out of the underwater phase. Will he have such a long underwater part? It's long, longer than the rest. It's working for him. Alfie Francis in the lead. Second place at the moment, Lewis Shaler, Watford, lane 5. And then the Bishop Stortford swimmer, Marco Tontadonati, in third. Meanwhile, Alfie Francis turns 35.49, just over a second ahead of the rest of the field. Francis then powering down towards the finish. It's a good race towards the turn end rather. Lewis Shaler, Marco Tontadonati vying for second place. As Alfie Francis of Potters Bar touches second or so ahead of the rest of the field. Then Lewis Shaler, then Marco Tontadonati. Lewis Shaler tried to catch up Francis, but he's unlikely to make it. He has a look across to his left. But Shaler's, Alfie Francis, very strong here. Too strong for the rest of the field. 1:15.75, little quicker than the prelims. Second place, Lewis Shaler of Watford, 1:16.69. And third, Marco Tontadonati, Bishop Stortford, 1:17.94. So, can you clear the pool to the side, please? Swimmer, to the side, the scoreboard side, please. The 15-year-old finalist in lane 8 from Berkhamsted, Ish Rahim. Lane 1 from Hemel, Joseph Coldwell. Lane 7 from Potters Bar, Tolu Ellison. Lane 2 from Harpenden, Yannick Wilson. Lane 6 from Hatfield, Toby Laguda. Lane 3 from Costa, Kieran McCarthy. Lane 5 from Bishop Stortford, Bryn Cowser. And in lane 4 from Hatfield, Reese Housden. Referee. Last final but one underway. Quite close on the entry time. Reese Housden of Hatfield in the purple hat in the centre of the pool. Fastest entry time going up to the first term though. Tolu Ellison swimming well. Up out of the underwater phase, and it is Reese Housden in the lead. Kieran McCarthy of Costa in second place. Pretty tight for third at the moment. It's Bryn Cowser of Bishop Stortford. As Reese Housden of Hatfield touches first, 33.63, back down towards the turn end. Then McCarthy and Cowser, second and third. Reese Housden just beginning to move away from the rest of the field. It's close for second and third between Wilson, McCarthy, Cowser, Laguda. Reese Housden though, definitely in the lead. Nothing to choose between second and third. Reese comes back down towards the start end. It's a fight for second. At the moment, it's the other Hatfield swimmer, Toby Laguda, who has second place. He's moving to consolidate that. Kieran McCarthy in third for Costa. But the winner overall, Reese Housden for Hatfield, 1:10.91. Toby Laguda, 1:13 dead for second. And Bryn Cowser, Bishop Stortford, in third, 1:13.30. Can you clear the pool to the scoreboard side, please, swimmers? Clear the pool to the scoreboard side, please. So just the last final to go now, 16 and overs final. Should be pretty close, middle four swimmers just separated by a second or so. The last final of the day then, in lane 8 for Hemel Hempstead, Josh Gaines. In lane 1 for Watford, Marcus Kemp. Lane 7 for Berkhamsted, Ollie Hurst. Lane 2 for Costa, George Loveman. Lane 6 for Hemel Hempstead, Jack Christie. Lane 3 for Costa, Alexander Ong. Lane 5 for Potters Bar, James Woodward. And lane 4 for Potters Bar, David Shipman. Referee. Off we go then. Almost approaching the end of the first length, is pretty close. Shipman with the advantage in lane 4 for Potters Bar. Shipman comes up in the lead. Second place, Jack Christie, Hemel Hempstead Blue Hat in lane 6. And then in third place, it's Alexander Ong of Costa. I'm sorry, it's George Loveman of Costa. David Shipman turns first, 31.50. Shipman, Christie, Loveman, 1, 2 and 3 at the halfway point. Jack Christie moving forward slightly, as is George Loveman. David Shipman, though, still in the lead as they come up towards that final turn. Shipman with a body's length advantage over the rest of the field. That should be enough to see him win the final down the last length. David Shipman, Potters Bar in the lead, moving away from the rest of the field. Jack Christie, Hemel Hempstead consolidating second. And George Loveman of Costa moving into second. Actually, it's going tight for that, but David Shipman takes the win, 107.45. Loveman for Costa in second, 109.12. And Jack Christie of Hemel Hempstead third, 109.58. Clear the pool to the scoreboard side, please, swimmers. So that concludes this weekend's swimming. Many thanks to all our swimmers, the parents, the coaches, the volunteers, the officials, and all the staff behind the scenes, including Mosaic FX, Three Strands Media, and After Dark. Apologies for the delays we had today. Hopefully the gremlins will have disappeared by next weekend. We'll be starting the next session Saturday morning at 8:30. We look forward to seeing you all there. In the meantime, have a safe journey home, have a good week, and we'll see you next weekend. Thank you very much.